Dear Santa, I want to tell you a secret. This secret you can only tell to Mrs. Claus, to the elves, and to you, Santa. The secret is to meet you. I know that at night you come to my house and you wait for me in the living room. I won't take long. If I take too long...
I know that being Santa is not an easy thing because you have a lot of work in December, and when you come down from the sky, you're very cold, and part of it is because of me.
I'd be sad if I didn't meet you. The magic of Christmas will cheer me up.
I'm making a lot of effort. I mean, I'm trying. I think you can guess why I'm writing to you. It's to tell you what presents I'd like for Christmas.
Mitenkä sitä? Ai kun tällähän on mukavan näköinen ilma. No hyvä. Siitä mennään hyvä.
It's the day before Christmas, a festive day, the day Santa Claus fetches his reindeer. This is Comet, his old companion. Today, Santa will load toys by the thousands onto his sleigh. The words of the children's letters still resonate in his ears. The flight through the night sky is jolly, like the hearts of the many children awaiting him. Santa is used to traveling the world, visiting so many countries. But one night, in December of 1951, as he is flying over France in the city of Dijon, he sees flames, and he can't believe his eyes. In front of Saint-Benin Cathedral, an effigy is burning, a rag mannequin that represents him. They are burning Santa. But why? 250 children are gathered under the gaze of the priest who staged this. The photo of the scene soon appears in all the French newspapers with the following explanation. It wasn't an attraction, but a symbolic gesture. For us Christians, Christmas must remain the anniversary of the birth of our Savior, Jesus Christ. Santa is perplexed. Is he being associated with a lie? Could he be opposed to Jesus Christ, who truly was sacrificed? Here is the full story of a conflict that goes back millennia.
Ah, le Père Noël est mondial. C'est pas compliqué. Il a conquis le monde entier. Donc là, par exemple, vous voyez, on a un Brésilien, là. 1907, celui-là, il est classique, mais il a la haute devant. On ne sait pas pourquoi. Le Canada, il est classique. Il est en rouge, quand même. Quant à l'Africain, lui, l'Africain, je le trouve merveilleux, parce qu'il est fait avec des boîtes de Flytox, notamment pour les tuer les mouches. Il est parfait, celui-là. Donc, on le trouve... Alors, je n'ai pas le japonais ici, mais le monde entier vénère le Père Noël.
Among the thousands of representations of Santa Claus, one especially stands out. The one of an early ancestor.
Le premier ancêtre du Père Noël, c'est dans la mythologie. 1000 ans avant Jésus-Christ, il y avait un dieu dans les pays scandinaves, les pays nordiques, qui s'appelait Odin. Et ce dieu Odin était très particulier parce qu'en général, les dieux, on les vénère, si vous voulez. On donne de l'argent aux gens qui s'occupent des dieux, aux prêtres et tout ça, pour avoir des protections. On donne du matériel pour avoir de l'immatériel. Et là, celui-là, le premier, il a fait le contraire. C'était lui qui donnait. Il avait un trône dans le ciel, avec 2 loups, et il avait 2 corbeaux qu'il envoyait sur terre pour savoir si les enfants étaient sages ou pas sages, de manière à les récompenser au moment du solstice d'hiver. Le solstice d'hiver, c'est autour du 17 au 25 décembre. Et puis à Rome, ça a commencé au 5e siècle avant Jésus-Christ jusqu'au 4e après, il y avait une déesse qu'on appelle Strenia. Très très grande déesse, d'où vient le mot étrenne. Et au moment toujours du solstice d'hiver, elle n'apportait pas de cadeaux, elle. Mais c'est en son nom que les patriciens romains, c'est-à-dire les gens de la bourgeoisie romaine, s'offraient des cadeaux entre eux, des friandises ou des objets en or, ça dépendait.
Among all of Santa's ancestors, there's a particular Roman god who is worshipped at the end of the year, when the sun goes down on the horizon and seems to disappear forever.
Durante il mese di dicembre c'erano delle feste molto conosciute a Roma, come la festa dei Saturnali, che era una festa in onore del dio Saturno, che è un dio dell'agricoltura. Si tratta di un clima in cui si cerca di celebrare il caos che interviene in un ordine prestabilito, l'ordine che caratterizza tutto il ciclo della vita dell'anno e che alla fine dell'anno appunto viene rimesso in questione. Quindi in questo clima particolare, soprattutto nelle case, viene scelto un re, che è il re dei Saturnali. È un personaggio di quelli che vengono definiti i re effimeri, perché incarnano lo spirito della festa, di una festa che finisce e che rappresenta un ciclo anche che finisce. È una festa in cui il momento di dissoluzione dell'ordine viene ritualizzato, viene messo in scena, viene festeggiato attraverso delle figure che secondo certi riti vengono addirittura messi a morte con dei riti particolari, a volte addirittura bruciati con dei roghi.
The king of Saturnalia is doomed to disappear, yet to be reborn the next year. But in time, such pagan rites will fade away as a new god rises, the one of the Christians.
"2,000 years ago in Palestine, a little baby was born whom some followers came to regard as God. And over a period of time, they agreed that it would be a good idea to celebrate his birthday.
In 354 AD, the Roman Catholic Church decides to place Jesus Christ's birthday on December 25th during the pagan celebration of the winter solstice, the rebirth of the undefeated sun. This is a very smart move for the Christians, leading more pagan believers into their new faith.
The child in an animal stall, attended by shepherds with angels in the background and mysterious visitors from the east bringing gifts. And these three astonishing gifts, gold, frankincense, and myrrh, are the basis of giving at Christmas.
Janoin ensin vähän lunta ja joo, vielä lupasi, että vähän saat syötävää.
The journey is not over. Among the many generous figures associated with Santa's history, one is especially central, the one of St. Nicholas. Here we are in Turkey, in his hometown, Myra, now called Demre. As you can see, in the big square, a statue of Santa has been erected. In his native land, this statue connects Santa Claus to St. Nicholas, And in this church, a fresco recounts the moments when Nicholas's life turned into legend. Since then, Bishop Nicholas has become the patron saint of a great many cities.
When he died, all kinds of wonderful mythology sprang up around him, so that he became, in time, the most important saint in heaven next to the Virgin Mary. He had the power of flight. He could magically fly. He also had the power to be in several different places at the same time.
He's the patron saint of prisoners, sailors, butchers, children, and even of a French province, Lorraine.
En France, on connaît bien évidemment cette légende des trois petits-enfants qu'un méchant boucher a voulu découper en morceaux et mis au saloir comme pourceau. Et Saint-Nicolas, au bout de 7 ans, est venu dans l'auberge en question et a ressuscité les trois enfants.
In 1087 AD, faced with the invasion of Turkey by the Saracens, Italian sailors took St. Nicholas's coffin to the city of Bari, enshrining his remains in the main church. Then, a French crusader brought his relics to a small town in Lorraine, renamed Saint-Nicolas de Port. Here, every year, on the 6th of December, his followers gather and sing to commemorate his birth. In addition to resurrecting the three boys, St. Nicholas's life was marked by numerous acts of generosity. He became the patron of children and a bearer of gifts. But be careful, if St. Nicholas brings gifts, he's also the one who punishes.
J'ai grandi dans un faubourg de Luxembourg. On mettait le soir nos pantoufles devant la porte de notre chambre. Et puis le matin, on regardait. Alors parfois, on avait un petit bâton. Ça veut dire qu'on méritait une fessée et pas de cadeau. Évidemment, le père avait toujours régulièrement le bâton. Et nous, alors en général, c'était un petit cochon de massepain ou quelque chose comme ça, mais petit. Lieve Kleesje, goede Kleesjen, bring ons Sachen allerhand, für zu gucken, für zu schmachen, aus dem schönen Himmelsland. Bei der dir, du stehst als Tellerin, les assiettes, bei jenen an enger Reihe, leid doch he, do für dein Jese, do für bring uns Spielgezei. Je me rappelle quand j'étais vraiment tout petit, j'avais surpris dans le garage mon père qui était en train de changer la tenue avec un voisin qui allait, je sais pas, je dis mais qu'est-ce que c'est que cette histoire? Mais je n'arrivais pas à comprendre parce que le grand problème métaphysique des enfants, c'est qui est Saint Nicolas?
We can think of St. Nicholas as a kindly man bringing goodies, but he was also very stern. And in this, he was also useful to the parents of Europe because he could carry a switch with which to beat children who did not know their catechism, who were disobedient. And sometimes in this mission, he was accompanied by a rather terrifying figure.
Il y a toujours avec lui le père Fouettard. Il y avait toujours quelqu'un qui était grimé en noir et habillé tout en noir. Il était sale et c'était un bûcheron avec des bâtons pour fouetter les garnements.
In Lorraine, in the city of Metz, there's a story about the origin of Black Pete. In December 1550, when the city was besieged by the Spanish Emperor Charles V, the Tanners Corporation organized a procession with an effigy of the emperor armed with a whip. Then they burnt it. From then on, every year on December 6th, at the same time as the St. Nicholas procession, inhabitants staged a similar one with a grotesque mannequin, his face covered with ashes. His caricature has remained in the minds of people under the name of Black Pete.
Pendant longtemps, les choses ont été bien réparties. Le chant de la religion, c'était celui du petit Jésus, le 24 décembre au soir. Le chant de celui qui est devenu le Père Noël, c'était celui de Saint-Nicolas, à une autre date. Mais les choses se sont compliquées.
What we have in the 1500s is an astonishing religious revolution that we call the Protestant Reformation.
Puritans were very much against Christmas and Protestantism in general, because essential to the idea of Protestantism is to strip away all of the accretions which Christianity got over 1,500 years and to go back to the Christianity as it was in the Bible.
And one of the things they agree on is that the cult of saints has become dangerous, that the saints are in peril of replacing God as the object of one's prayers. So they abolish the cult of saints, and with them goes St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas disappears as a Christmas gift bringer in many parts of Europe.
Bye-bye, St. Nicholas. At least they didn't burn you. But you'll be back, because, as the elves say, hiding a saint doesn't make him disappear.
Et à ce moment-là, donc, on a repoussé des traditions qui avaient lieu le 6 décembre. On les a repoussées à Noël, au moment de la naissance de l'enfant Jésus. Et on a inventé en Allemagne en particulier le personnage de l'enfant Jésus, le Christkindl, comme disent les Allemands.
In Strasbourg, the rules of the Reform apply. In 1570, a pastor speaks out against the practice of giving gifts to children on St. Nicholas Day. The St. Nicholas Market, which is held on December 6, is renamed. The command is to call it the Market of the Child Jesus, Christkindlmarkt in Alsatian.
The figure of the baby Jesus is wonderfully theologically correct, but it's a difficult social act to perform to imitate the acts of St. Nicholas. St. Nicholas was good, but he was also frightening. And nobody is going to be frightened by the baby Jesus. St. Nicholas can carry huge sacks or baskets of goodies. A baby can't. And so we see in the 1500s the development, a change in the shape of the Christ child and the appearance of frightening helpers. European folklore is full of beasts that appear at Christmas, and you don't know whether they're going to kill you or give you a gift.
Il y a des fées, des tas de personnages. Par exemple, vous avez la Befana en Italie. C'est une vieille sorcière.
E la Befana è rappresentata come una vecchia che assomiglia un po' a una strega, che vola su una scopa e che ha un corbello dietro la schiena nel quale sono contenute appunto tutte le calze che noi lasciamo appunto ormai piuttosto vicino alle finestre. E si sapeva che se non si era buoni, la Befana ci portava cenere e carbone purtroppo. Però eravamo tutti buoni e cenere e carbone non ce lo portava. se non carbone di liquirizia, perché avevano inventato un carbone dolce di zucchero nero.
Each country has its creature meant to frighten children. Krampus, Knechtgrupert, Zwarte Piet, Greile, Schumsli. The Protestant Reformation and its religious precepts now prevails in a large part of Europe. In England, the figure of winter called Father Christmas is even the object of a trial, during which he must defend himself. For certain Protestants, the new doctrines are not respectful enough of the strict teaching of the Bible. These Puritans decide to leave Europe and settle in a new land where they will be allowed to live in accordance to their faith. These pilgrims, setting foot on the American continent in 1620, start new colonies. According to their faith, Christmas is not worthy of celebration and is therefore abolished. It becomes a day of work. Anyone celebrating Christmas in the colony can be punished with a heavy fine. Any reference to saints, and therefore to St. Nicholas, is forbidden. But America is a land of immigration. Other migrants, coming from other countries, bring their own religious faith and traditions.
The situation in the cities at Christmas and New Year's had become a social problem. It became dangerous to be out on the streets. In Boston and Philadelphia and New York, gangs would take to the streets. They would bang on pots and pans and blow horns. They would jostle decent middle-class folk. They would interrupt church services at a time when police forces were just in their beginning and could not deal with this.
In 1800, the situation in New York City becomes dire. The city is flooded with new migrants. The Puritans, considering them barbarians, abandon part of the city. Barricades are erected in Manhattan to protect law-abiding citizens from unruly gangs. Organizations, such as the New York Historical Society, are founded with the goal of creating a more respectable city. Since America has no shared history and no shared culture, this new historical society is looking for a common identity. And, surprisingly, its members decide to turn to St. Nicholas. John Pintard is the founder of the New York Historical Society and belongs to a Masonic lodge made up by descendants of Dutch families. It's Pintard who rekindles the flame, that of the Sinterklaas, the Dutch St. Nicholas. He introduces him as a grumpy bishop with his whip in front of a hive, a Masonic symbol. Santa is now a Freemason.
John Pintard tried to make Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, the patron saint of New York. And so one of the things Pintard was trying to do was to get a tradition that wasn't English. There was another member of the New York Historical Society, and his name was Washington Irving, and he was a comical writer, he was a satirist, and he found Pintard's enthusiasm for St. Nicholas very, very funny. And so he wrote a spoof history of New York, and in his parody history, St. Nicholas, Santa Claus, keeps appearing and helping the settlers to build the houses, sort of appearing out of the sky, smoking a pipe. Washington Irving's spoof history of New York was a massive bestseller. It was a hugely, hugely popular book in early America, and people loved these stories, and they started telling them to their children as truth.
And for the first time, a new name appears in a drawing. Santa Claus. A name in a story destined for a bright future.
There was a third member of the New York Historical Society called Clement Clark Moore, who wrote a children's poem called It Was the Night Before Christmas. And it was a very, very popular poem. Santa Claus is on a sleigh which is drawn by reindeer, and he comes down the chimney himself and comes out into the fireplace with the presents and wishes everybody a Merry Christmas.
Farewell, Bishop St. Nicholas. Here comes an elf.
Later in the 19th century, there's a guy called Thomas Nast, who was an illustrator, and he's the guy who really sets down the Santa Claus that we know and that we still see on Christmas cards, and the Santa Claus that children imagine, of the jolly, fat man with the beard and the pipe.
And during the American Civil War in the 1860s, he drew a series of patriotic drawings for a magazine that featured Santa Claus on the side of the Union. And the face he gave them was that of the kindly grandfather that had been suggested by 'Twas a Night Before Christmas. And whatever else Santa Claus wears around the world, now in whatever country he's in, he will look like the face that Thomas Nast gave him.
An odd aspect of Santa Claus is very much that he's a housebreaker. He's an old man who sneaks into your house, and he actually breaks that family bubble to some extent. It's very strange when you think about it that we tell our children that there's an old man who's broken into their bedroom and that they should be happy about that.
Koitti, niin joulupukki kyllä tuli aina. Se tuli illalla, siinä 6 maissa, kun oltiin saunottu ja syöty. Ja sitten kun se pukki alkoi tulemaan, niin se piti semmoista kauheaa meteliä. Se jyskytti seiniä joka paikkaa ja sitten se tuli etuovesta kauhean röminän kanssa. Ja sillä oli kävelykeppi ja se tärisi niin kuin vanha ukko siinä. Oikein, onko täällä kilttiä lapsia? Ja me oltiin niin kuin, mitä tapahtuu? Ja mentiin äitin taakse piiloon. Ja ei siinä mitään, joulupukki tuli istumaan meidän kanssa. Ja niin sitten se kyseli, että onko Katja ollut kiltisti. Olen minä ollut kiltisti, joo. Hyvä, että itkua vääntänyt. Ja
With the Industrial Revolution, Christmas and Santa Claus are soon associated with a profound change in the social order, for the bourgeois will oppose lower-class values.
The communal traditions associated with Christmas, like wassailing, banging on people's doors, demanding alcohol, wearing masks, it's replaced by this inward-looking family as opposed to community. your table as opposed to the street, your fireside as opposed to the whole city. This new inward-looking celebration.
Il y a vraiment effectivement une mise à distance de ces pauvres qu'on ne veut pas voir ou évidemment qu'on veut voir si ça s'agisse, quoi, s'ils deviennent très, très raisonnables. Et la famille bourgeoise devient un enjeu très très important, s'enrichit aux dépens de tout ce prolétariat que Marx a décrit. Et la famille bourgeoise va faire de cette fête de Noël un des grands rassemblements annuels où elle va effectivement honorer les siens, mettre en scène sa réussite sociale et son ambition pour les enfants. Il y a un transfert de la fête religieuse sur la fête familiale, en quelque sorte. Parce qu'autrefois, que ce soit en Angleterre, en France, aux États-Unis, il n'y avait pas cette réunion de famille.
The Protestants banned Catholic religious songs and replaced them by New Testament psalms. So it's no coincidence that English writer Charles Dickens wrote A Christmas Carol. In this Christmas tale, he describes a society that is divided between rich, greedy misers and poor but generous parents. The story tells how one of the misers becomes a better man thanks to ghosts that visit, making him realize charity and generosity can save him from doom.
Il faisait des lectures de son conte à Boston, à Paris, à Londres bien sûr, et les gens se précipitaient. On raconte qu'à Paris, devant l'ambassade d'Angleterre, il y avait une file d'attente en plein hiver, que les gens étaient en larmes, et qu'à Boston, il y a le fameux industriel Fairbanks qui, après avoir écouté le conte de Noël lu par l'auteur lui-même, a été bouleversé et a offert à ses ouvriers une dinde, une noix, et leur a permis de fêter Noël. Ça a été un jour férié à ce moment-là. Les Goose Club en Angleterre, c'est très intéressant parce que les patrons obligeaient leurs ouvriers à faire une épargne annuelle pour pouvoir fêter Noël dignement et s'acheter cette fameuse oie qui était donc le plat anglais.
This notion of a Christmas that is reconnected to morality, reconnected to religion, and the American gift of a Santa Claus figure is going to combine in the 19th century.
En fait, existait au départ un cadeau et progressivement, il fallait bien quelqu'un pour apporter le cadeau. Et voilà comment ce quelqu'un pour l'apporter peut avoir changé suivant les régions. Mais maintenant, c'est uniformisé et le Père Noël est universellement connu.
Le Père Noël américanisé étant devenu aussi un enjeu commercial, il a envahi la publicité.
Santa became universally known thanks to, guess who? The department stores. They were gaining popularity at the time, and so enrolled Santa as their #1 sales clerk.
Entre les deux guerres, le Père Noël est donc un enjeu publicitaire pour les adultes. Il est un peu coquin sur les bords, il est un peu ordure sur les bords, dans la mesure où on s'empare de lui pour promouvoir, il devient un peu l'homme sandwich, des gros cigares, des alcools forts et des petites femmes légères.
Ah, elle est très, très aguicheuse, il n'y a pas à dire. Hein.
Mais ce Père Noël a longtemps été discuté pour d'autres raisons. Pour un certain nombre de caricaturistes, dans les années 20, dans les années 30, il est ambigu. C'est le Père Noël des riches. Et ça n'est pas forcément le Père Noël des laissés pour compte. Alors, dans les caricatures un peu acides, l'une des plus belles, c'est celle d'un enfant perché sur les toits, dans une forêt de cheminées parisienne. Et le titre de cette caricature, c'est « Où la nuit s'enfuit avec l'espoir ». Et l'enfant dit à propos du Père Noël qu'on voit au loin, sur son âne, comme une ombre blanche, « Il ne viendra plus, il doit avoir honte des cheminées sans feu ». Ce Père Noël, il pouvait être vert ou rouge. Et il reste des traces de cette hésitation. On a même vu des Pères Noël gris. Il a changé de couleur de houppelande, le Père Noël. Aujourd'hui, on a une trace de ça. Le Père Noël rouge, c'est le Père Noël traditionnel, et le Secours populaire a pris pour emblème le Père Noël vert.
Oui, alors le Père Noël, effectivement, lui, il est récupéré par des annonceurs, par des marques. Donc, par exemple, évidemment, le plus connu, c'est Coca-Cola. Hein. Mais Coca-Cola n'a surtout pas inventé le Père Noël. Il a simplement récupéré le Père Noël. Et le Père Noël était d'accord, finalement, parce que lui, il voulait être connu, le Père Noël, parce que Saint-Nicolas était très connu, mais lui n'était pas très connu à cette époque. Tandis qu'avec Coca-Cola, il a trouvé un sponsor qui l'a fait connaître. Donc ça a servi les intérêts des deux.
On est dans une période carrefour qui va durer quasiment jusque dans les années 50, jusqu'à ce que le Père Noël l'emporte.
But Santa Claus is so powerful, Christmas is so powerful that they call forth enemies. And one of these enemies is totalitarianism.
In the Soviet Union, after the revolution, celebrating Christmas was considered bourgeois, thus discouraged. So the Communist Party decided to revive a non-religious figure, Ded Moroz, the Slavic wizard of winter. Under the Soviets, Ded Moroz was made to look like a blue Santa, who came to offer gifts to the children, not at Christmas, but for the New Year's holiday. Of course, Ded Moroz's imagery was soon used to praise the revolution and glorify the working class of the new regime. Another totalitarian party that also decided to exploit Santa's image to its own benefit is the Nazi Party.
When the Nazis take power in 1933, their first thought that the Nazis had is just to co-opt Christmas. So they will try and associate Nazism with all of the good things of Christmas. And so the SS tries to paganize Christmas. They want to move the celebration from December 25th to December 21st, the winter solstice. This is met with a good deal of resistance by the German population. When they sing Silent Night, they don't want to have that verse in which Hitler is mentioned.
Avant même les années 40, il va servir à des gens qui résistent au nazisme, en Allemagne, en Alsace, à combattre Hitler. Et on va voir des caricatures du Père Noël dans lesquelles le Père Noël, dans sa ode, véhicule des insignes nazis et tous les attributs de la propagande nazie.
After the Nazi invasion, occupied countries in Europe had to supply nearly 6 million war prisoners as forced labor to German factories. In France, this was enforced by the conservative government, headed by Marshal Pétain.
Dans les années 40, le maréchal Pétain va récupérer tout ce qu'il peut récupérer. Il va faire feu de tout bois. Et il va surtout faire main basse sur le Père Noël. Alors pour ça, il a deux méthodes. D'abord, il écrit aux enfants au nom du Père Noël. Il devient le Père Noël. Et alors, il va organiser quelque chose d'ignoble en 1941. C'est un concours de lettres réservé aux enfants des prisonniers de guerre. Il y aura un gagnant par académie dans l'éducation nationale. L'idée est simple. Tu écris une lettre à ton papa et si elle est gagnante, on sortira ton papa de son stalag, de son camp de prisonniers. Il rejoindra pour Noël la capitale Mais le problème, c'est qu'après, on le renverra dans son camp de prisonniers.
In the aftermath of the war, department stores hired Santas by the thousands. But first, these Santas had to take classes at newly created Santa Claus schools.
En France, c'est vraiment après la Seconde Guerre mondiale qu'il a cette importance. Et c'est vrai qu'on a envie de gâter les enfants au lendemain de la guerre. Tino Rossi chante les cadeaux par milieu. On est en 40. C'est le premier réveillon d'après la guerre. Hein. Donc, et puis il y a eu aussi une fabrique de jouets aussi qui s'industrialise. Donc ça permet des prix moindres pour gâter les enfants.
But where does Santa live? It is rumored that he lives near the North Pole, but where exactly? Is it in Canada, in Indiana, in Greenland, or in Lapland? One thing for certain is that the official Santa Claus village was opened in 1985 near the Finnish town of Rovaniemi, right on the Arctic Circle. It's become the largest Santa theme park in the world. It receives more than 500,000 visitors every year, coming from all countries and religions, whether Christian or not.
Hello, welcome inside.
So, hello, please come here. Good morning, how are you today? So, please don't be afraid, don't be afraid. It's only me here. Just take it easy, just take it easy. So, let's start with the photo, so we can...
No,
what do you
am
think?
I on the naughty list?
What do you think?
I hope not, Santa, because I have a long list of...
On the naughty list, okay. So I try to understand. So if you try a little bit harder, yeah, you might get to the nice list.
So I am on the naughty list?
Maybe. You never know. What do you think yourself? What do you think yourself?
Well, I've been really good this year.
Okay, that's good. That's a good start. That's a good start. Continue the same way.
Santa seems to be on the naughty list as well, accused by the UN for causing the worst neuroses in children, forced to believe in an old man whose existence is doubtful.
Alors c'est là que le Noël païen et le Noël chrétien ont vraiment été mis en concurrence. Les évêques, d'ailleurs, prenaient parole en disant aux gens « ne parlez plus du Père Noël ».
In 1951, in an underprivileged parish of Dijon, a group of parishioners rejects Santa for his consumerist attitude and upstaging Jesus. They dress up a mannequin and set it on fire.
Il gesto di mettere a morte Babbo Natale a Digione può essere stato interpretato come un gesto di sacrificio che può essere messo in relazione a questo sacrificio ipotetico del re dei Saturnali, perché appunto Babbo Natale è stato interpretato come un discendente di questi re effimeri.
Et ces images ont fait le tour de France en moins de 48 heures. Et là, gros scandale, puisque tout le monde dit « mais l'Église vient de brûler le Père Noël ». Il se trouve qu'à l'époque, le maire de Dijon était un autre ecclésiastique, le chanoine Kir, et lui n'était pas du tout au courant. Donc dès le lendemain, il a dû organiser une mise en scène, faire descendre en rappel le long de la façade des plus hauts édifices, l'hôtel de ville de Dijon, le Père Noël, et publier un communiqué de presse de démenti pour dire « non, 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 c'était une mascarade, le Père Noël n'est pas mort ». Et là, ça va déclencher une querelle entre intellectuels qui va durer plusieurs années.
The Carrefour newspaper provided a forum for defenders and opponents.
The defendant, Santa Claus, may stand up.
Dans le camp des pro-Père Noël, des gens comme Cocteau, Cesbron Et surtout Lévi-Strauss qui va consacrer un essai spécialement dédié au Père Noël. Et ça va être très, très, très violent.
As long as children believe in Santa, their souls are pure. They can see God. I accuse you of comparing Santa's condemnation with being burned in public. Burning Santa Claus is like burning children as heretics if they believe in it, and if they don't, burning their dreams.
These violent controversies haven't diminished the enthusiasm that Santa sparks among kids all over the world. Every year, letters by the millions are sent to Santa. Santa's official post office in Rovaniemi received 17 million letters from 100 countries in 1985. Postal systems everywhere have had to adapt to this incredible situation.
Mais tu sais, Père Noël, je vais te dire un secret. C'est que être un enfant, ce n'est pas facile non plus. Tout le monde voudrait que les enfants soient sages et qu'ils travaillent bien à l'école.
Demande à tes lutins de ne pas oublier les piles électriques, car c'est toujours embêtant de recevoir un cadeau et ne pas pouvoir l'essayer parce que l'on n'a pas de piles.
La personne qui a sans doute été décisive dans l'institutionnalisation des lettres au Père Noël, c'est un ministre des Postes qui s'appelait Jacques Marette et qui a estimé, lorsqu'il a pris les rênes de son ministère, et non pas ceux du Père Noël, qu'il n'était pas admissible que des centaines de milliers de lettres partent dans les nuages et n'arrivent nulle part. Donc il a fait créer un secrétariat du Père Noël et il a demandé à sa sœur, qui s'appelait Françoise Marette, d'être le premier secrétaire du Père Noël. Françoise Marette, elle est beaucoup plus connue sous le nom de Françoise Dolto. Françoise Dolto avait compris à quel point il est important pour l'enfant d'arriver à développer ses rêves et son imaginaire.
Voici notre belle boîte à tétines que les enfants nous envoient du monde entier. Parce que grandir, c'est passer un cap. Donc les enfants envoient au Père Noël leurs tétines, leurs biberons et encore les doudous.
Little children, when they don't need them anymore, they leave them here for me. And we recycle them to the baby reindeers. Recycling is very good.
Well, another aspect of Santa Claus and Father Christmas is it's a rite of passage for children to learn that he doesn't exist and that he is, in fact, your father, probably just bringing the presents.
On entre à 6 ans chez nous, c'était obligatoire, à l'école communale. Et c'est là, les grands, ils poussaient les épaules, ils croient encore à Saint-Nicolas. Et puis, après 1 ou 2 ans, on apprenait le grand secret que c'était les parents.
Parfois, à la télé, il y avait des pubs de jouets en promotion, mais je m'étais dit, si c'est le Père Noël qui fabrique les jouets, pourquoi c'est en promotion? Parce que du coup, comme le Père Noël en apporte, ça sert à rien d'en acheter. Et donc là, j'ai commencé à avoir des doutes, parce que je me suis posé la question, et donc je me suis dit que si c'était en promotion, c'est que les parents devaient les payer.
And now, Santa's facing a new barrage of criticism. Will he survive it? The fight is on. He's targeted. It's Jesus against Santa. Who's the true spirit of Christmas, the original one? Santa is the symbol of capitalism, the destroyer of the planet, with a terrible carbon footprint. Santa is about junk food. His health is catastrophic. Cholesterol, diabetes, hypertension, possibly lung cancer because of his smoking habits. People want to hang him, to crucify him. They criticize him for having waited years before introducing himself as a black Santa. What do you expect? He's only the image of those who created him, a reflection of our society. It took him a long time to be accepted as a black man, especially in some parts of the US. In the Netherlands, When he arrives each year dressed as St. Nicholas, a controversy has arisen because of his faithful companion, Black Pete. People criticize this Dutch tradition for being racist, showing the mean guy as a black man. Angry people are now demonstrating against this. So the Dutch authorities have recently made Black Pete less black, pretending he's covered in ashes because he fell down the chimney. But it hasn't stopped the marching.
But one of the absolute constants of the history of Christmas is people are always complaining that it's been losing its true meaning. People have been worrying that we've forgotten the true sense of Christmas. And so Christmas is necessarily a nostalgic time when we look back and we worry that we have lost something. So I don't think the interesting thing is that Christmas has become commercial. I think the interesting thing is how worried we are that Christmas has become commercial, because that is our worry about the way that society as a whole is heading.
From time immemorial, people have either tried to appropriate his image or get rid of him. He has been banned, forbidden, sacrificed, hanged, burned. But Santa still returns every winter. As long as there are those who still believe in him, he will continue to survive in the hearts and souls of the child within all of us.
J'ai quand même pas mal de preuves qui prouvent qu'il existe, mais c'est pas des preuves où ils sont sûrs à 100%, voilà. Donc en même temps, j'y crois pas, mais en même temps, j'y crois.